Hi everyone, TARDIS Guy 123 here, and today I'm going to be doing a review requested by Dr. Nerva, so thank you for the request, and he requested that I review the Ark in Space. So here we have it, the Ark in Space Special Edition right there. We've got Tom Baker there, the Ark in the background, then you've got a Wirrn there, a fully grown Wirrn, and then you've got Noah transforming into a Wirrn. Quite a gruesome shot there. And Tom Baker years, 1974 to 81. Let's have a look at the spine, standard stuff. BBC to entertain. And on the back here, have pictures from the story, the Ark in Space Special Edition by Robert Holmes. And he is, of course, one of the all-time greats at Doctor Who. He's written lots, and many of them are classics. And here you have the special features. New Frontier, making of the Ark in Space. It's an interesting watch, I guess. I wish it kind of included more of the cast. That was a bit unfortunate. And then you have TV movie version, which is a special 70-minute compilation of the story. That was the version which I watched in preparation for this review, simply because I didn't have time to really watch the full thing. And also because I wanted to check that out, see what it was like. It's actually quite good. It still flows very in sequence. There's nothing really important that's been edited out. And most of the stuff that was edited out I didn't really notice, to be honest. The most noticeable edit is the one that's in the original as well, which is at the scene where Noah begs to be shot. And yeah, it's quite. Apparently, it was quite a heavy scene, so they decided not to include it. Philip Hinchcliffe said to cut that bit out, so it just kind of cuts to the gun being dropped on the floor, and that is the most noticeable edit. All the edits for the actual 70-minute edition are done very well. And then you have Doctor Forever, Love and War, which is looking at the BBC books, novelisations and the Virgin novelisations. Yeah, that's quite an interesting thing there. It mainly focuses on the Virgin New Adventures for the most part, but there is some other stuff as well. And then you have loads of other special features as well. So, good stuff there. Let me open it up. You have the inside, got disc 1 here, and disc 2 here. And now let's take a look at the booklets. Special features on the inside, and that on the back. Chapter points. So then, what did I think of the actual story? Now, obviously, it is one of those classic stories. It's Tom Baker's second story in the role of the Doctor, and he does it superbly. You wouldn't know unless it was pointed out to you that this was his second story, because he hit the ground running in Robot, and he's just kept running ever since. He really does do a great job in this. It feels like he's been playing the role forever. If you watch him in this, it truly is amazing, his performances, and he has some wonderful lines as well, such as the thoroughly digested line. Some nice bits there. It is very enjoyable. And then of course you have the indomitable speech. That was a very good speech there, which unfortunately I think was edited out actually, the 70-minute version. I don't remember having that in there, but you know, it is a wonderful little speech, that is, and you know, just so many other wonderful lines. And this story itself very much goes back to that old format, which I haven't really seen since the Patrick Troughton years, and that is of the base under siege. And it's a tried and tested formula. It works so well, and it's produced many of Doctor Who's classics. You know, Tomb of Cybermen, Seeds of Death. Sorry, Web of Fear. You know, all those classic stories, which are kind of like remembered for being claustrophobic, really do all come off that base under siege format in one way or another for the most part. And in fact, more recently actually, there was The Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit, which was a wonderful story, and that was kind of like based on the siege format. So that format really does work, even though it might not be original, but ultimately it does work. It does produce some great stories, and this is definitely one of them. Part of me thinks it might have worked even better in black and white. It might have had that little extra scare factor. But anyway, you know, it's just a wonderful format, and it works for this story very well. And also, it goes back to something that hadn't been done for quite a long time, and hasn't been done since, I'm pretty sure. And that is kind of like where the regulars, just the three regulars here, Tom Baker, Elizabeth Sladen, and Ian Marter, are the only real people in the first episode. And while you do have kind of like others, kind of like voices, such as the Prime Minister and whatnot, they are the only people you actually see. They're the only actors you see, and they're very much on their own for the entirety of part one. And it kind of like gives this very empty feeling to the whole of Nerva. And that is very nice. I think part one is absolutely incredible, because it's just carried by those three characters, which is incredible, and really do get some wonderful lines between Tom Baker and Ian Marter, you know, such as, well, there are only two of us here, and your name is Harry. That's a wonderful one. And then there's the bit where the Doctor says, you're improving, and then he just goes on to say, it's entirely due to my influence, of course, you mustn't take any of the credit. You know, wonderful lines like that really do shine through, and Ian Marter and Tom Baker do them both brilliantly. And then you have Sarah kind of like going off and doing her own thing for the most part, and that's quite interesting, I guess, but, you know, that's more to kind of like set up the world a bit more, you know, and because she doesn't have anyone to interact with, it's not as important, it's not kind of like as focused on as much, so it's mainly the Doctor and, almost called it Ian then, the Doctor and Harry, who very much carried that first episode. You know, it's something that often is done in the Hartnell years, actually, such as the Daleks, where, you know, you just have your four regulars wandering around, discovering things, trying to work out what's happened. You know, it works very well, and I wish kind of like they'd return to that for an episode or so. And it's a bit difficult to do in a 45-minute format, because 25 minutes you can have them wandering about, 45 minutes be a bit difficult. But, you know, something like that, at least have the first 15 to 20 minutes be just the main cast. They probably need a third main cast member, because at the moment with only Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman, I don't think it would work quite as well with just the two of them. You need kind of like a third or even a fourth maybe to kind of like make that work better. But, you know, that's not how the new series does it. It kind of like prefers to jump right in, and that's fair enough to those who enjoy that. But I personally prefer this slow build-up that you get in part one. And to be honest, part one is probably the best part of this story, I feel. And then you kind of like jump into the other parts. There are some nice moments of kind of horror, I guess. It's not kind of like all out, but admittedly it would be quite scary for a young child watching, such as kind of like all this bubble wrap going on here. Although you got to remember that at the time, bubble wrap would have been a fairly new invention, so, you know, the general public wouldn't have been as aware of it. And then you got this wonderful creation of the Wirrn here, and it's quite effective actually, I feel. I think the soundscape helps it out as well, and, you know, it's a very interesting creation, the Wirrn. Would they work better in CGI? Probably. I think they work better on audio, having listened to Wirrn Dawn. You very much get the idea that they're kind of like insects crawling around, but here, for what they are and for what they could do at the time, they are very effective. And then you have wonderful lines from supporting cast members. I think Noah here says, "But I am June," and that's a very iconic moment. And it's quite an interesting twist in the story, and it very much leaves you in a sense of mystery as to what's going on Nerva, what's happening, and that's all very good, I feel. But the mystery is one of the strongest parts of the story. And then you eventually get to your typical base under siege part of it, where the Doctor has to electrify the whole place and whatnot, to keep the Wirrn from getting in. That's all very good too. And, you know, the eventual conclusion works very strongly. I feel it is a bit too easy, to be honest, but I can forgive that, to be fair. And also I do feel that another strength of this is that it does go through its cast members quite quickly. They do get killed off quite a fair bit, which is nice. It adds that extra element of suspense. I do feel that they could have spent a bit more time with them though, to be honest. To just kind of like build them up as characters just that little bit more before killing them. Because otherwise they were basically just red shirts for the whole thing, which is, you know, it's still good to have them like be there to be killed. It sounds like cruel and heartless of me actually, but you know, it's important to add the suspense to the story. But you know, if you build them up as characters, then it makes their death even more meaningful, and it makes the Wirrn even more frightening. So I think that's my overall thoughts on this. Oh, sets. Let's talk about the sets here. They are very white and very flat, you know, but they work quite well in the context of the story. The idea that this is kind of like a beacon, and not a beacon, sorry, a arc and whatnot. It works quite nicely, and then you do have some darker scenes inside the rocket and whatnot. So yeah, I think the sets are very effective. They very much fit the style that they were going for here. So overall, the arc in space, I would rate it 9.5. Very, very high, very, very good story, a true classic. It's one of those classics that's actually almost been forgotten, to be honest, because of how good it is, it's not really talked about as much, to be honest, which is unfortunate for it, because it's not the one that's forgotten, I'd say, but it's the one that people forget how good it is. So if you haven't watched this in a while, I'd recommend going back, revisiting it, and falling in love with it all over again, because it truly deserves it. It is one of those classic stories, which, you know, is often kind of like when you talk about classic stories, it's the one that you'll go through loads of list dwellers and you think, I'm sure we've missed one. Oh yeah, that's it, the Ark in Space. But it's not kind of like the one that jumps first to your mind. I think that'll probably be Genesis of the Daleks or Pyramids of Mars, maybe. But, you know, Ark in Space, worth the time of day. Really should take a look at it if you haven't already. And revisit it if you haven't seen it in a while. So, those are my thoughts on the Ark in Space. Please share yours in the comments below. And also, if you would like me to review another story, please do leave a request. So, that's all I've got to say. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everyone.